My name is Jamie Nix, and today I will be demonstrating how to make an authentic Italian tiramisu. The first thing we're going to cover today are the tools needed. We have a hand mixer, a few rubber spatulas. I like to have a small dish to the side that I can set my used items on. An egg separator. This is completely optional. We also have measuring cups, an angled spatula, a duster, which is also optional. You could use a hand sifter or just shake it off of a spoon. And for convenience today, I also have my handy dandy stand mixer. If you by chance do not have a stand mixer or a hand mixer, you can use a manual hand whisk, but it's going to require a little bit of elbow grease. All right, the ingredients required for our dish is ladyfingers, which is kind of the star of our show. This is the biscuit inside of the cookie. We have 2 cups of cooled espresso. Don't be intimidated by espresso because it's really just as easy as a trip through your Starbucks window. Just get a grande to make sure you have enough. We have cocoa powder in our duster. We have probably about 1/4 cup in there, but you certainly won't need that much. And that's just your standard cocoa powder, unsweetened. You can fancy it up as much as you need. We have granulated sugar, 1 cup, 5 eggs that have been separated and allowed to reach room temperature. We have a mascarpone cheese. That's 16 ounces or 2 containers. If for some reason you are unable to find mascarpone in your grocers, you can check. It's normally found in fine retailers, but you could also use sour cream and equal amounts of cream cheese with probably 3 to 4 tablespoons of sour cream per 8 ounces per cup, and that will get you to the right sweetness for a good substitute. Mascarpone it's the same consistency, a similar taste. It's just not nearly as sweet as our cream cheese. And then we have our alcohol. We can use Kahlua, which is my personal choice, cream de cocoa, dark rum, Irish cream, Madeira, which is, I believe, the traditional ingredient. Everything is at hand, and the first thing that we are going to do is make our meringue. To make a meringue, we're going to take our egg whites that are at room temperature, and we're going to put them in our stand mixer. We're going to allow them to beat. As you can see, I have a whisk attachment. What this is going to do is allow air to incorporate into the egg mixture. We let it get to room temperature because the warmer it is, the more air it will allow to build. If it's a cold bowl or cold eggs, it really helps. It works against our eggs and it causes them to deflate. So while that's mixing, we're going to get started on our custard. To make our custard, we are going to take our egg yolks, pour them into a bowl, our sugar, in there. It'll take a few minutes for our egg whites to get where we want them to be. They're going to start turning white and getting really foamy, and we'll know that they're done when the foam solidifies and there's no more big bubbles in there. And also it will start to get really glossy and shiny, and we're looking for stiff peaks. With our eggs, as we mix it first starts out, it's really a dark yellow, the yolk, it's a very rich color. As we incorporate the sugar and the air using our beater attachment, it's going to add air and it's going to lighten. We're looking for our egg mixture, our yolk mixture, to double in size and get nice and light and fluffy. Our egg whites are coming along. to when it was, where it originated and when, you would think as such an inherent part of Italian culture and probably one of their most popular and famous desserts, you would imagine that it had been around for centuries, considering the age of the country. However, it actually only started showing up in restaurants and cookbooks in the 1980s. Right now, we have our egg whites. This is what we would call a soft peak. They're still nice, and they have some consistency, but it bends right over and it doesn't hold any real form. So they're not quite ready. I'll let them go for just a little bit longer. And then now we're going to start incorporating our mascarpone into what I will call our zabaione. We just do a little bit at a time because we want to keep it nice and light and fluffy. Keep that air in there. Whenever you're adding a dense ingredient into a lighter ingredient, you just want to do a small amount at a time, especially if you're trying to achieve a lift. A lot of people get intimidated by this dessert because it has some unfamiliar terms such as espresso, ladyfingers, which are also sometimes called pavesini, or, oh, there we go, Sauvignon. So now we can take, as you can see, I can make any kind of design in here and it's just going to stay. It's not going to fold and knock over. So that's what we call firm peaks. Get the rest of our cream mixture in here. As you may have noticed, all of the egg products in the tiramisu are prepared raw. There's no point in time where any of the egg gets cooked. The alcohol does nothing to cook it. It's not an acid. So it doesn't really work well that way. I'm going to now add our alcohol portion, a little bit at a time, about halfway. A good alternative, if you're going to serve tiramisu and you're concerned about the raw egg issue, you can find pasteurized eggs at fine retailers such as Whole Foods or Sprouts, and then that completely alleviates the concern. If you are just going to go with grocery store eggs, the chance of getting salmonella is like 1 in 20,000. It's very slim. I don't take any extra precautions. But if it's something that's a concern to you, you should definitely consider it, and also just make sure that if you have any guests that are pregnant or young or of age, that they are aware. So what I'm going to do now is take our mixture, and I am going to add a little bit of it and a little bit of our meringue together, and I'm going to fold. Folding is something that a lot of people don't understand. They think that folding is the same thing as stirring and mixing, and it's not. When you fold something, you have a rubber spatula, and you take it and you bring it all the way to the bottom, and you simply just place it on top. You're never breaking through the product. And what we're doing now is, again, because we have a heavier custard Sauvignon base and a lighter meringue base, we're going to incorporate the two, kind of lighten the load a little bit. Take that. Take that small amount and put it in with our mixture. and start folding and incorporating. It doesn't have to be thoroughly mixed. Just want to get it somewhat consistent. The point is to keep all of as much air in here as possible. If you happen to stir it, it's not going to hurt anything. It's just going to deflate the air. It's not going to change the taste. It may affect the texture a little bit. It's not going to be as fluffy and as creamy like a mousse, if you will. So it's still nice and light, fluffy. Right. Now it starts to get a little messy. I'm going to put some rubber gloves on. Move some of these items out of our way. Now is the assembly portion. It literally only takes a good maybe 20 minutes to prepare an authentic tiramisu, as long as you have your mise en place established. And take about 1/3 of our custard, put it on the bottom of our pan. Just want to get a nice spread. This is our base coat, our bottom glue for our biscuits. Lady fingers, Pavasini, whatever you prefer. We're simply going to take our biscuits, submerge them, take them out, layer them. If you have a dish, sometimes I like to make it in a tall, narrow dish. This is a 10 by 12 serving dish. If you want to use something smaller, if you prefer more layers and your cookies won't fit perfectly in here, like these take 2 rows, like a champ. You can always break the cookies and adjust them to get your layers right. And these are very, very, very absorbent. Takes no time. You don't want to let them sit. I mean, just a quick dip and a toss is all that's needed. A little bit more. So, oops, we've got our first layer in. So now we are going to put another 1/3 of our mixture. We just want to make sure that we reserve enough for a final top coat. Spread it on. Nice, even. Put just a tiny more in. And this is just the most delicious thing in the morning with a cup of coffee, or in the evening with a cup of coffee. Okay, we're going to do our next layer. And the creaminess and all the moisture in the custard and in the espresso are just going to soak into these biscuits. And they're crunchy. like a crouton. They've been, dried out, so they're not moist at all. But all of the moisture content from these two ingredients just soak in there and just makes it mouth-watering. It's like the softest, dreamiest, like cushiony thing you could imagine. Easy peasy. Got a little bit of space here, so I'm gonna cram. It's very forgiving. You don't have to worry about it being all beautiful and perfectly in a row and in line, because you're just gonna cover it with some yummy cream. Gloves. I'm gonna take the last bit of our jambalon. Now this recipe came from a very good friend of ours named Sarah. My husband and I were stationed in Aviano, Italy for 4 years. It's where we actually picked up our favorite souvenir, my youngest son. But Sarah was our next door neighbor, actually right across the road, and she is the one who taught me how to make this and handed it down. So I would have to say that this is probably about the most authentic you can get. I know all the boys come back for more. My son just asked if we would make this for his next birthday cake. So it can't be bad. And this is actually going to an Italian themed party this weekend. Alright, we've got it, our final coat on. We're going to liberally dust the cocoa powder. And what this is going to do, this is also going to soak up that moisture, and it's going to make like a delicious crust. You can't do too much. Good. Get a nice little towel.
Good.
Take a damp paper towel, just wipe around your edges. Be nice and clean, and that way it will hold the saran wrap with no problems. So we're just going to cover this, put it in the refrigerator overnight, and it'll be just perfect in the morning. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed watching me make a tiramisu, and I hope that it has given you the confidence that you need to be able to prepare this on your own, in your own kitchen for your family. Thank you.